Not very picturesque, is it? This is the busy Tritton Road in Lincoln. I'm approximately 2 miles from the city centre, surrounded by supermarkets and a bustling retail park. Not my kind of thing at all. But just a short walk in this direction, things are very different. Just a few hundred yards up this track is an area situated within the city boundaries that remains relatively little known to most people, including myself up until quite recently. Now, I've been living in Lincoln for over 30 years, and I didn't think that there were any more surprises. So you can imagine my surprise to find a nature reserve next to the grim concrete sprawl of Tritton Road. And it's situated on the other side of this unmanned railway crossing. Now we're just a few hundred yards from the busy Tritton Road. You can hear how quiet it is. I'm sure you'll be surprised to learn that the area to my left was once the city's landfill site. I don't know when it closed, but it's nice to see that nature has bounced back. Now, I first discovered this place completely by chance. It was last winter during the lockdown when I had a lot of time to do a lot of walking. We are coming up to some abandoned farm buildings. Now, on my last visit, I saw a deer standing right next to the barn. It was truly magnificent. It was the biggest deer I think I've ever seen. It wasn't alarmed. Well, not at first, until I slowly raised my camera and it was gone. It doesn't look like these buildings have been used for quite some time. However, the barn is still full of fresh silage. Yes, silage. And I was told that there was once an orchard here. Now, I was standing here last winter and I saw an impressive murmuration of starlings. I'd never seen one before, and it's truly a magnificent sight. Hundreds, sometimes thousands of birds all grouping together to form shifting patterns in the sky. The local twitchers told me I'd missed the peak of the murmurations that year, but I was lucky enough to catch a relatively small murmuration on film. Now, when I first discovered this walk last winter, I saw a very strange sight in that field. It was just the mist in the fields, but of course I couldn't resist getting all spooky about it. That's quite eerie. There's a strange mist coming out of the wood and it's slowly moving across the field. I don't know how well you can see this on camera, but the ducks are squawking and they're running away from it. Are they aware of something malevolent in the mist? Right, Bhutan Mere Nature Reserve is on the other side of the bank. Now, the gate is always locked, so I have to cross carefully. What a view. I really do love this place. Not quite so nice, the other side however. Water is very green and stagnant. It's mid-August and there hasn't been any significant rain for at least a month now. We really do need some rain, and that's something you don't say in England very often. Now there are some wooden steps leading up and over the high bank. They're the only entrance to the mere. Hi there. I'm sure we're getting close. The entrance is harder to spot this time around with all the dense summer foliage. So here we are. Now there's a bird watcher's hut. No, that's not the right word. Hide, a bit further on. Now I didn't get the opportunity to look inside the last time, as it was occupied by local teenagers. And there was a rather strong smell of, shall we say, exotic tobacco emanating from the area. I don't think anyone's here today, which is good. And this is Bhutan Mere. Not a great deal of activity here today, but it's a hive of activity in the winter months, and it's one of only 2 regular wintering sites in Lincolnshire for bitterns, which is a very rare bird related to herons. Let me get a better view from the other side. We're trying to get a good view of the mere from the hide without binoculars. It's a bit like looking through someone's letterbox. There's no easy way around. It's hard to imagine that just beyond those trees is the busy Tritton Road. And of course, the city of Lincoln. I've just remembered there's a hole in my shoe that's letting in water. I'm sure there was a song about that in the 60s. Right, I've got one more thing to show you. Can't remember how to get... No, it's not up there. It's an old deserted building. I just hope there's no one hanging around in there. Well, because of my wet feet, I forgot to mention that Bhutan Mere used to be known as Skubridge Ballast Pit. It was used for extracting gravel to build the railway line in the 19th century. Now this path stretches for miles. I just wonder where you'd eventually end up if you just carried on walking. Now this is what we've come to see. This long abandoned building used to be the railway relief cabin. Let's take a look inside. As you can see, it's been abandoned for a very long time and heavily vandalized. Of course, we have the ubiquitous graffiti. Now we're quite close to the railway line, and I believe there used to be a siding nearby for unloading freight trains, and this cabin was used for the drivers and crew to take a break. I hope there are no nasty surprises around this corner. Now I don't know for sure when the building fell out of use. I read that it might have been in the early 1960s, in which case it's been abandoned for as long as I've been around. However, other factors suggest it was still being used in the late 1970s. Well, thank you for joining me on this rather pleasant stroll to Bhutan Mere. I will most likely upload this video sometime in the winter, when I'm sick and tired of the dark, dreary days, and I'm looking forward to another summer. Now there are plans to build up to 2,700 new houses on the flatlands to the south of Bhutan Mere, which includes the former landfill site and surrounding fields. So who knows what impact it could have on the peace and seclusion of this place. It could possibly be ruined forever. I hope not.